I grabbed a knife and I said, don't come anywhere closer to me. It's coming at me, and I threw it.
Courtney Clenney, 26 years old, OnlyFans model, influencer with 2 million subscribers. She allegedly threw a knife at her boyfriend in self-defense. But is it true? Today we're gonna break it down everything, but first I need to get familiar with the case. So let's get started. So first, I'm gonna be reacting and playing video for you from Dr. Insanity. He did really amazing job on this case, but everything is very serious, so viewer discretion is advised. Let's jump into it.
On the 3rd of April 2022, Miami police received a terrifying phone call.
I can't feel my arm. I can't feel my arm. Oh, my boyfriend is dying of a stab. Ma'am, what is the address? 134 Northeast 7th Ave. Baby, I'm so sorry.
27-year-old Christian Toby Abumseli was bleeding out in his girlfriend's lap with a brutal stab wound to the chest. When police arrived, pools of blood were found all over the apartment, and Toby was barely clinging to life. OnlyFans model Courtney Clenney had met Toby back in 2020. The two seemed to be deeply in love, but behind closed doors, things were completely different. The couple were known to have violent fights, and the police were even called multiple times to their apartment. But their biggest argument would take place in April of 2022 and result in Toby bleeding out and begging for his life. Courtney told police she had nothing to do with it, but police thought differently. So she was brought in for questioning, and a 5-hour-long interrogation began.
Alright, I'm gonna stop it right here because, like the Dr. Insanity said, this is 5-hour interrogation, so I will skip it to the most important part where she said that she threw the knife. So let's check it out.
I mean, I said like choking me on the floor. It's just like, they were looking at my neck and I was like, I mean, I'm not saying like choking me like, you know, whatever. But I mean, he had my like neck, like and this happened twice before, where I couldn't breathe and I was on the floor. Yeah. I could not breathe. And I don't think that he is trying to kill me, but I was scared.
Alright, just before, the Courtney was explaining to officers that she was basically scared of her life, that the victim basically choked her, pinned her to the ground, but let's see what Courtney did right after.
So, this happened like over by the door and somehow moved like over in the living room. He was standing by the couch, facing toward the kitchen, and I was in the kitchen. And then he just like, I could see like all the whites in his eyes, and he was like coming at me. So I grabbed a knife and I said, don't come anywhere closer to me. I had absolutely no intention of using it. I'm on the phone with my mom, and he's coming at me like he's gonna grab either the phone or like the knife or something. And so I was just like, I was like, don't come any closer. It's coming at me, and I threw it.
You saw it? So she said she was with her mom on the phone. She grabbed some kind of kitchen knife, told to the guy like, hey, don't come closer, and she just threw it. Let's see what the detective asked her after.
How far away was he?
Well, I was by my fridge, and he was like by the edge of one of the chairs of the sofa.
This is very important.
Like
Comparing to what
10 feet. I'm trying to think in my head.
Alright guys, so Courtney said that it was 10 feet. She grabbed the knife from the kitchen while on the phone with her mom and randomly throwing on the attacker while also he was moving towards her. So remember that, but there's still so many important things that we have to check it out in this video. So let's continue.
Yes, I was in front of the fridge. He was by the couch,
and then
behind my island.
And then what kind of movements did he make at the moment? He was gonna walk
running
up,
at me.
running?
Okay. Running. Charging.
Aggressively walking, something.
What was he doing? Like, was he doing something with his hands or?
Doing it at his hands up. I couldn't tell you exactly.
Was he yelling at you at the time?
Yes.
Was that at the moment that he was charging you or earlier in one of the arguments?
It was before he choked me. Yes, it was before he choked me.
Okay.
Or whatever. But I swear to God, I was scared.
Okay, so more excuses, but you can clearly see from her what she's saying she thinks that it was clear self-defense, just randomly throw it and stick it perfectly point first. I don't know about that.
The couple had also been involved in another incident in Las Vegas less than a year earlier. Police were called to their apartment after a loud argument was heard, as well as glasses smashing on the floor and walls. The apartment was trashed when police arrived, and Courtney's story was all over the place.
Check it out, guys. This is really crazy now.
Because we were getting really loud. We were getting loud. And I was like, oh my God, we're gonna like do damage to the room or something. Not damage to each other. Like I really want to like.
Why would you think?
highlight that.
Why would you think that you were gonna do damage to the room?
I like throwing something. Or
Like throwing something.
Did you throw something?
did I?
Yeah.
No.
Did anybody throw anything?
No.
So why would you think that there is damage to the room to be made?
Because I've done that before in our house.
She obviously loved throwing, I think. I don't know.
And I
What have you done?
thrown a glass and a plate.
Did you throw a glass or a plate at him today?
No.
Okay. So if
No,
I
this was before.
okay, so when I go to the room and I see a broken glass on the floor, where did the glass come from?
I don't know. I literally couldn't even remember how the fight started.
Okay, well,
Was there?
yeah.
Maybe I did. Well, I'm guessing that I threw the glass, but that sounds.
Guess I threw the glass.
Courtney was brought to jail and held for 12 hours overnight, but Toby refused to press charges and advocated heavily for release.
So you can already see she was booked in the jail and her boyfriend don't want to press charges against her. It's just showing the character of both persons.
This may seem like nothing, but police did conclude that Courtney had attacked him that night by throwing a glass at his head. If nothing else, it proves that Courtney was capable of attacking Toby unprovoked and opens up an entirely new avenue for this investigation. However, it also turns out that police had been in contact with the couple more recently. In fact, they'd actually been called by security to their apartment the day before the attack.
So this is actually totally crazy, guys. So the cops were there day before the actual attack. This is crazy.
But the cops have been up there one other time yesterday for absolutely no reason.
What do you want to see?
I want a restraining order against Christian Abumseli.
The building's security noticed her pushing Toby out of the elevator and screaming at him, and mentioned absolutely no aggression coming from him.
And even in this second case, you can clearly see that she was the aggressive one attacking her ex-boyfriend Toby. But now the police officers will tell her that Toby didn't make it.
Christian died. Can I please have a hug? Am I allowed to do that in here?
Did you saw that, guys? So normal person, I think, if she would be really caring about the Toby, her ex-boyfriend, she would completely like break down, start crying, but she's doing nothing that. She's playing like this victim, I guess. And her first thing was asking the officers if she can have a hug. Would you believe this? Crazy.
So it obviously wasn't hard for her lawyer to convince them officially that she wasn't guilty, and she was let off without any charges.
So I was really surprised by this part, because after all that evidence, detectives actually believe her part and they let her go. But it was definitely not forever. Let's check it out.
There were also unflattering videos such as this one showing her drunk in public just days after her release.
Crazy. So she was basically partying right after the attack, outside of the public.
So due to this and many other accounts stating that Courtney was well and truly the one, she was officially taken to court by Toby's family. This is where the final nail in the coffin was delivered by a medical examiner who'd observed Toby's body and come to a conclusion.
Now watch what this doctor is going to say. This is very important.
Based on the information you received that the defendant was alleged to have thrown this knife, do your observations support that?
If the person who supposedly did this is an expert knife thrower, and the knife is the type of knife that you can throw, I guess that could have happened.
He said that if she would be expert knife thrower and use the exactly throwing knife for that purpose, it could have happened. All right, so let's see.
Did you receive any information that the defendant was a knife thrower?
No.
So based on that fact that you did not receive that information, would it support that?
No.
And what would you expect to see a knife do if someone just flung it at somebody?
It would just hit the body and bounce off.
Now, as a result of this case, did you come to a cause, or did you make a determination as to the cause and manner of death?
Yes.
Could you please explain those to the court?
The cause of death was stab wound of right subclavian artery. The manner of death was homicide.
All right, so in the second part, he said that if she is not an expert and basically throw it at somebody, the knife would actually bounce off and didn't stuck. I have to little bit argue with that, so I think best way is going to be to show it to you. So come on. So let's go back and let's break it down the whole scene, what Courtney is claiming that happened. So we have to imagine everything. So there is an attacker, you know, he is coming at us. Courtney is panicking, like she said, she is on the phone with her mom and she is grabbing the knife, the kitchen knife. And Courtney said it was about 10 feet. So this is exactly on this distance. And I assume that she is not expert knife thrower, right? So she would be just randomly chuck it like this towards the target and knife would be spinning. Actually 10 feet, it's perfect distance for one spin rotation. So in this case, it's kind of possible that knife could make the full spin rotation. But let's see, it's really not easy to stick classic kitchen knife like this. So she's on the phone. There you go, look at that. Knife is over-rotated and it's stuck perfectly. But there is a huge flaw, what she was saying. And you know why? Because if you are following my channel for some time, you know that full spin throwing, it's mainly from the setup distances. And for the sticking point first, you need to know the distance from your target. And like I said, for the one spin rotation, it was about 3 meters. But do you remember what she was saying?
Funny? Okay.
Well, charging, aggressively walking, something.
That attacker was actually charging at her, you know, going towards her aggressively. And in this case, the distance wouldn't be the same. So we can go that, for example, I am moving towards the target. So let's see, again, I'm on the phone with my mom, throwing, I'm moving. The knife is bouncing off. What if I would be going back from the target? Look at that. Please, please, no, no, no. Very, very difficult to stack. Really, if you don't know the distance, it's very, very impossible to stick with a full spin rotation. Bounce like that would hurt, but you never go deep, especially if you are the beginner. The step, it's so easy. This is only this movement. But throw it like this, that deep, it takes skills. And now we can go back to what doctor said. So he was saying that actually, if she would be professional knife thrower and know what she was doing with the special throwing knife, like for example this Stinger from the AceJet, the result would be totally different. And I agree, because if you know what you are doing, you don't even know to know your market distance from the target, you can be moving anywhere. And look at that, guys. I can throw so powerful that we're gonna have the several inches of the penetration. So in this case, throw like that, it's super serious. And now about the second part, what doctor said. So he was explaining that if she is not expert thrower, it's impossible to stick into the target. But that's not true, because like I mentioned in my video, One Throw, One Kill, you can check it out right here in the link. I was mentioning that most of the attacks actually happened in the kitchen when somebody threw the knife and chucked it at somebody, and sadly they hit it and the person maybe bled out. So these cases were happening because it's in human nature to throw something randomly on the target and stick it. From the sticks, from the spears, thousands of years. So in theory, she actually could have thrown a knife, but in my opinion, it wasn't in the self-defense. But I'm definitely no jury, no judge, or not a detective. So you have to make your own opinion. Really difficult to stick something randomly. But with the professional knives, no problem. And what's with the Courtney now? She's basically looking totally unrecognizable after 1 year in jail. Her parents was actually arrested about 10 days ago because they were messing with the evidence. She's always trying to play victim of the self-defense and domestic violence, but they are still building charges against her, and actually she could end up in life in prison. So what do you think about it, guys? Was it self-defense? Does she threw the knife? Or she just stabbed the victim? Let me know your opinions in the comment section below. And if you want to support the channel, there's going to be a link for the AceJet website. But for today, that's it. So thank you everybody for watching. Share, like, comment, subscribe, and see you next time.